Welcome back to the workbench. Today we are going to talk about how to add coupler cut levers to your HO scale boxcars with Barker's trains, HO scale coupler cut levers plus eye bolts, BT102. So what we've got here is a nicely detailed HO scale boxcar, Western Pacific. I like this because it has some color. It's the Feather River route symbol on there, and it's got, as you can see, it's got grab irons, got air hoses, it's got freestanding ladders, it's got roof walk grabs. It's a nicely, it's got some brake gear detail on the bottom. It's a nicely detailed car, but what it is missing are coupler cut levers right in here. Now I have taken the liberty of adding a Barker's Trains coupler cut lever to the other side of the car. As you can see, that details it out nicely. I've also painted it to match the car, and I'm going to show you how to go about doing that. So first off, you're going to need your Barker's Trains BT102 cut lever set. Comes with two phosphor bronze 0.015 diameter coupler cut levers and two eye bolts. Next, you're going to need your drill with a 0.015 drill bit, a pair of tweezers, and your super glue. So what we're going to do first of all is we're going to locate where we're going to drill our hole for the eye bolt, which is going to be right in this area here, and that is roughly where they would put the bolt, the eye bolt, on the prototype to attach the coupler cut lever. So I just drilled a little hole there. Now it's going to be different on every car. As you can see, on this is a branch line trains car, and it's a different car, different prototype. You've got to find a little area right in this corner to drill your hole and attach your eye bolt. There's usually a little piece of material sticking out down here. Sometimes there's a little circle. On this one there's a little circle. You want to do it just kind of above that or to the side of it while not interfering with the grab irons. You want to look at prototype photos if you can and try to locate it as close to the prototype as possible. But if you don't have a prototype photo, then you just kind of put them where you can in that area, and it's very hard to see from far away exactly where they're positioned. You just really see the coupler cut lever, and you kind of don't see exactly where it's placed. Yeah, so you just kind of have to do what you can on some models. So now we're going to grab our Barker's Trains HO scale eye bolt, and we are going to very carefully insert it into the hole that we drilled. Now we're going to take our trusty scrap of wood and we're going to make a little dot of super glue or CA. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to dab a bit of that CA onto the end of a large diameter wire, like a 0.025 diameter wire. Just make sure you get a nice little glob on there. And then you're going to come in, and on the back side of that eye bolt where it's attached, you are going to apply some CA. Oops, bumped the camera. Okay, now you're gonna grab a razor blade or something and come in and move the eye bolt so it's straight up and down from the outside. It's kind of started to harden up on me, so I'm just gonna grab it with my tweezers and get it so it is straight up and down. Now I've gotten the eye bolt so it's straight up and down with my pair of tweezers or my razor blade. I had to maneuver that around so it's straight up and down. As you can see, there's the eye bolt, in place, and it has a larger portion of the shank sticking out the back where I drew the hole underneath the car. Now you don't want that, so after it sets up, you're going to come back and you're going to cut it off with a pair of nippers. Okay, so my CA is set up on my eye bolt, the super glue, and I'm going to come in now with a small pair of nippers. And if you can't fit them in there because of the stirrup step hanging down, you don't have a small pair of nippers like this, then you may need to cut the eye bolt before you insert it to the proper length so it doesn't stick out. But I have these very skinny ones, so I'm going to go in and just nip it right off. Okay, now we're ready to insert our coupler cut lever into the eye bolt, like so. You're going to push it in and kind of thread it down so that the shank of the cut lever then sits right on top of the coupler box, or I should say on the bottom of the coupler box, and just kind of move it into position towards the edge of the coupler box. Then I'm going to come in with the CA once again. It's not exactly in the position I want it to be, but it's roughly there. And we have a little bit of working time with the CA, so you go ahead and put a little dab of CA on the bottom of the coupler box. Then you're going to go ahead and just kind of move that shank of the coupler cut lever into the position that you want, right about at the edge of the coupler box. Now that I've got my little glob of CA on there, I've positioned with a razor blade or tweezers or what have you, positioned. You can move it around because you have a little bit of working time with the CA, and I've moved it into position. And don't worry that you have a little bit of a globby mess there on the bottom of the coupler box. Just make sure you don't get it on the coupler. And I've moved the coupler cut bar into the position that I want to, because it kind of rotates a little bit. You can kind of move it around, and that's the position that I want it in. Now I'm going to let it set up. Okay, now my CA is set up, and you can see that everything is in the position that I want, but this I had to come in at a bit of an angle because of the rod coming down from the brake wheel. So my cut lever handle is kind of pointing inward. So what I want to do is I just want to go with my tweezers and just sort of bend it out a little bit, so it's kind of parallel to the face of the boxcar. I like that. That looks good. Now the next step is paint, because we don't want to have that shiny phosphor bronze coupler cut lever on there. So you've got to match the paint, and I had some Polyscale Reefer Orange. That's as close as I have to this color. Obviously it's not going to match perfectly, but it's pretty close. But what I want to do is I wanted to get it even closer. So I put a little bit of this Reefer Orange into a little container, and I matched in a little bit of oily black, because you can see that needs to be dulled out a little bit to match the color of that boxcar. Now you can see that's my color. It's the Reefer Orange mixed with just a hair of oily black, and it's going to be a close enough match excuse me, to the original color of the car. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint the coupler cut lever and the eye bolt only, just down to where they reach the coupler box. So I'm going to go ahead with a very small brush, because I just want to paint that small area. But you can get a little bit of extra paint on there. And then I'm going to just come in and dab on my paint. And it doesn't matter if you get some on the car, on the orange part of the car. That's totally fine. You just want to go down just to where it meets the coupler box. I got a little bit extra on there. This is tough to do while you're trying to film it, I gotta say. There we go. Just kind of dab it on there, and it will kind of run over all the parts of the coupler cut lever. And there we go. After you get the colors on some of these detail parts, especially ones down near the bottom of the car, once you weather the car, you're gonna basically you're gonna put other paint over this stuff, so you're not going to see if it's not an exact match. So don't sweat that too much. And even if you just wanted to have this looking like a new car, like it was just painted, this still looks pretty good. I mean, it looks pretty good, and you can get a really close match just by experimenting. Okay, now that that paint's dry, I am going to address the globby mess on the bottom of that coupler box that's shiny with super glue, with a little bit of black acrylic paint. And I can't, Polyscale went out of business, so we don't have that anymore. So I substitute sometimes with this Artist's Loft black acrylic paint. You can get it online, you can get it at your local arts and crafts store. So again, I'm going to come in with my really small, my fine detail brush. I'm going to grab some of that paint, and you can get a bit of it on there. And we're just going to come in and we are going to paint the bottom of that coupler box. And be careful not to go out onto the cut lever, but cover the whole bottom of the box with a good amount of paint. And you're probably going to have to do 2 coats just because it doesn't want to stick to the CA very well. So let that first coat dry, then come back and do your second coat. And what we have when we're all said and done is a nice set of installed coupler cut levers. And you can see that those really finish off the detail of the car. And you can see it on the other side. Painted to match. All you need now is weathering and to get them on your layout and hauling some freight. And again, what you need to complete that is the Barker's Trains BT102 coupler cut lever and eye bolt set. And you can find that on eBay at the Barkydogshapes store. Thanks for watching and have fun.